Hi, I'm Thunderbolt, and you must have heard of the news of Toyotaro saying that all of Dragon Ball is canon. Well, that's not exactly what he said. So here's the question that was asked. There's a lot of debate about what's considered canon and what's not. Based on your expertise, how do each of you view the concept of canon? This is a question that's even more prevalent with Dragon Ball Daima. So, Torishima said that Toriyama was a mess, often forgot the continuity of the characters he created, and he was also someone who was always thinking how to make the fans enjoy the show, so he made up the stories over time without thinking too hard. In conclusion, there is no continuity or order for Dragon Ball. Toyotaro, on the other hand, who is the successor of Toriyama, said that to me everything is more or less canon because I've seen everything. And Nakatsuru, the guy who worked on GD, said I am not really sure about this. So basically, Toei Animation and Shueisha don't really care about what canon is in Dragon Ball, they just want to make entertaining shows. Toyotaro, on the other hand, is basically saying that I think all the events took place, and the easiest way to explain how they all took place is by using Toriyama's own words when he called GT a grand side story. They are all side stories of each other, aka alternate continuities slash timelines. The correct word is continuity, but just because it's easier, I'm gonna refer to it as timeline in this video on. So, with this whole canon thing going out of proportion, what is the best Dragon Ball watch order? If you're new to Dragon Ball and you have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on and how you can watch all these shows in a way that makes the most sense to you, well, don't worry, you've come to the right place. I'm gonna explain it all to you in a very simple manner. You will understand it beautifully. Make sure to leave a like, and also we are trying to reach my goal of 225 subscribers to beat Piccolo Daima's power levels, so please help me out with that. Also join the Discord, as it's a really fun place. You can have Dragon Ball discussions, video game discussions, have conversations with me, as well as get sneak peeks for future videos. I'll see you all there. Anyway, let's get started with the watch order. So, obviously, if you want absolutely no filler, if you want Akira Toriyama's main story from start to finish, then you should read the Dragon Ball manga. It is 520 chapters long. It is his main Dragon Ball story from start to end. Everything else that came after the manga is either an adaptation or a sequel. But his main Dragon Ball story is this one. 520 chapters, easy enough to read, no tension whatsoever. But if you don't want to read the manga, that's totally fine. You can watch the anime. To start off, you first begin with the Dragon Ball anime. It has a total of 153 episodes, but you only need to watch 133 of those episodes. So the Dragon Ball anime is the one that started it all. It's an adaptation of the manga's first 194 chapters, and while the dub of Dragon Ball is really good, the sub is more accurate than the dub. But you can watch the dub as well, it's totally fine. But if you want a more accurate watch, then watch the sub. And here are the episodes that you need to watch. You start from episode 1 to 29, then 34 to 78, then 84 to 126, and 133 to 148. The 20 episodes that I've not included are all filler, and they don't contribute to the story in any way, nor are they good fillers, so there's no point in wasting your time with it. Once you're done with Dragon Ball, you move to Dragon Ball Z Kai. So Dragon Ball Z Kai is the remastered version of the Dragon Ball Z anime, and it adapts the remaining 326 chapters of the original manga. Most people will tell you to watch Dragon Ball Z, but if you want better pacing, better voice acting, a more accurate dub, and an anime that does not have a lot of filler, Dragon Ball Z Kai is the one to watch, which is why that is the one I'm recommending you to watch. So there are a total of 167 episodes in Dragon Ball Z Kai. You have to watch 165 of them, which means you only need to skip 2 episodes. So the episodes that you need to watch are 1 to 100, then 102 to 164, then 166 to 167. So the only 2 episodes that you skip are episodes 101 and 165. So now you have finished Akira Toriyama's main Dragon Ball story from start to finish. So what should you do after this? Well, after this, Dragon Ball divides into 4 main continuities. From the way I see it, it's 4 main continuities. So the 4 main continuities in the order of appearance are Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, the Dragon Ball Super manga, yes, they are different, and Dragon Ball Daima, which came out very recently. So the best way to go into these continuities is in release order, because the newer continuities make references to the older ones, which is why watching the older ones first gives you a better understanding of what the newer ones are trying to reference every once in a while. So that means that after you finished Akira Toriyama's main original Dragon Ball story, either via the manga or via the anime, you move to Dragon Ball GT first. But you don't skip straight to GT. Before you go to GT, you need to watch the Dragon Ball Z movies. Why? Because the Dragon Ball Z movies are connected to Dragon Ball GT. There's only one Dragon Ball Z movie that I know that is not connected to Dragon Ball GT, but all the others, the ones that you see on screen here, are connected to Dragon Ball GT, and there are some fillers from the Dragon Ball Z anime as well that are connected to GT, because GT is the sequel to the Dragon Ball Z anime. It's not a sequel to Dragon Ball Kai, it's not a sequel to the Dragon Ball manga, it is just a sequel to the Dragon Ball Z anime. So how do we go about entering the GT timeline? So once you finished Akira Toriyama's original story, here is the GT timeline watch order. You start with Bardock, the father of Goku, move to episode of Bardock, Dead Zone. These are all movies, by the way. Then you go to the Dragon Ball Z anime and watch episodes 108 to 117. Then you watch The World's Strongest, The Tree of Might, Lord Slug, Cooler's Revenge, The Return of Cooler, Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans. Then you go back to the Dragon Ball Z anime and watch episodes 195 to 199. Then you watch BoJack Unbound, Broly Second Coming, Bio Broly, Fusion Reborn, Wrath of the Dragon. After Wrath of the Dragon, you're done with all the movies and filler episodes that you need to watch before you go to Dragon Ball GT. I have arranged all of these in chronological order, and I have made a video on the GT timeline where I have explained exactly where every single movie takes place in the timeline. But you should only watch that video after you've finished Akira Toriyama's main story, either via the anime or the manga. Okay? I'm putting a link to that video in the description. Only watch it once you've finished Akira Toriyama's main story. Okay, so now you've finished all the movies and the filler episodes. Then you go to Dragon Ball GT. Dragon Ball GT has 64 episodes and one movie. It is the first ever continuation of the main story. Like I said before, it is the sequel to the Dragon Ball Z anime. Toriyama helped with the early character designs, location designs, and he also approved the early plot. And he's said it a few times that he loves and respects the series, but the dub of this series is highly inaccurate, so please only watch Dragon Ball GT in sub. Do not watch it in dub. So the watch order of GT is the 64 episodes and then A Hero's Legacy, which is the movie that takes place after the end of the series. And that's it. You're done with the first major continuity. Before we move on, I should also mention the history of Trunks. So Trunks the History, the Lone Warrior, is a one-shot chapter in the original Dragon Ball manga. And then we also have its anime counterpart, which is a special called The History of Trunks. Now there is a difference between the two. Certain events are slightly different between the two, and that is because the manga is obviously connected to the original manga, while the History of Trunks special is connected to the Dragon Ball Z anime and to GT. Regardless, all you need to know is that the History of Trunks manga as well as anime you can read or watch anytime after either chapter 390 of the original manga or after episode 84 of Dragon Ball Z Kai. Do not watch or read this before that. Okay, now you move to the next two continuities, which I like to call the Super timelines. So there's a Dragon Ball Super anime and a Dragon Ball Super manga. I think you most definitely should watch the Super anime before reading the Super manga, and it is a wild ride. You're gonna enjoy it. So Dragon Ball Super is a sequel to the Dragon Ball manga, the original manga that I spoke about, Akira Toriyama's main story. Now for the anime, I have included some filler that I think is good or required for the anime version, and the Super anime was made by Toei Animation using Toriyama's notes on every single arc. So Toriyama would send a bunch of plot points for each arc, and based on those plot points, Toei Animation would adapt them the way they think they're supposed to, and Toyotaro would adapt them the way he thinks he's supposed to. Which is why the Super manga is so different from the Super anime. Because while the main plot points of all arcs remain the same, the events that take place as well as certain power-ups are completely different. Different characters fight each other, there are different feats of strength, and overall the events that lead to the major plot points are all different as well. So Dragon Ball Super's anime has a total of 131 episodes and 2 movies. You only need to watch 126 episodes and 2 movies. Like I said, I have included some filler that I think is good for the anime version. So the super anime watch order is episodes 1 to 14, then 16 to 43, then 47 to 69, then 71 to 131. Then you watch the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and then the Dragon Ball Super Superhero movie. And you're done with your second continuity. And now you move to the third continuity, which is obviously the Dragon Ball Super manga. Currently, it has 104 chapters. It is still ongoing. The Dragon Ball Super manga is a lot more grounded than its anime version. And like the anime version, it is also a sequel to the original Dragon Ball manga. Also, the reason why you should watch the anime before the manga is because the manga also covers 2 more story arcs that the anime still hasn't covered. And the manga is still ongoing, which is why it is better for you to watch the anime first, then read the manga. Just like that, you're done with the third continuity as well. And now you come to the fourth and final continuity, which is Dragon Ball Daima. Dragon Ball Daima only has 20 episodes. It is another sequel to the Dragon Ball manga, but the difference is that the entire story of Dragon Ball Daima was written and worked on by Toriyama himself. He didn't just give pointers, he made the whole story himself. But it makes a lot of references to previous continuities, which is why you should watch it at the very end to understand everything. And just like that, you're done with all of the main Dragon Ball continuities that you need to know about. After finishing Dragon Ball Daima, you could also watch Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Super Dragon Ball Heroes is a promotional anime, and it mixes the various timelines like Super, GT, as well as other video games. It's like the multiverse colliding, and it's a basic shut your brain off and have fun watch, right? Some things might not make sense to you, it's totally fine. You're just there for the fan service, action, that's all you're there for. You're not there for the main story. Although to be honest, some plot points are pretty good. So there's only one extra filler episode in Super Dragon Ball Heroes that has nothing to do with the main story, which is why I'm not including it. So there's a total of 56 episodes. So obviously you need to watch 55 episodes. And the episodes to watch are episodes 1 to 21 and 23 to 56. You skip episode 22. Another fun fact about Super Dragon Ball Heroes is that the episodes are only 8 minutes long, so they are very quick to go by. So you can finish this anime very quickly. Now once you're done watching everything and you still can't get enough of Dragon Ball, then here are some fillers and movies that I recommend watching afterwards. This is after everything, okay? So you watch Curse of the Blood Rubies, Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle, Mystical Adventure, and Path to Power. These are all movies that take place in the early Dragon Ball era. Then you can also watch Dragon Ball episodes 127 to 132, as well as Dragon Ball episodes 149 to 153. I don't want to tell you what happens in those filler arcs, but they are not that bad honestly. And then Dragon Ball Z episode 125 is a very well loved filler episode, so you should watch that one as well. And finally, the Dragon Ball Z Super Android 13 movie, which is not connected to GT. You can watch that one as well. And just like that, you are done with all of Dragon Ball, and all you gotta do then is wait for future releases just like all of us. And if you want to go into the Dragon Ball video games, the video game continuities are, well, that would be a completely separate video because there's a lot that happens there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. My name is Thunderbolt, and I'll see you all in the next one.